I love the social and political aspects of Commander, and removal is extremely important. So let's take a look at some removal spells that get the whole table involved. Bladegriff Prototype. 5 mana, artifact creature, Griffin, 3/2, flying. When this creature deals combat damage to a player, destroy target non-land permanent of that player's choice that one of your opponents controls. I know a 5 mana 3/2 doesn't look very impressive at first glance, especially when your opponent gets to choose what's removed, but I think this is a really cool card, and you can make deals to remove key permanents from the battlefield. And you know, some colors can't remove enchantments easily, right? So this is a way to deal with stuff that's on the battlefield and is an issue, but you also get the table involved, because what permanent are you targeting? Who are you attacking? If they have flyers, are they letting you get in for the 3 damage? And there's so many political aspects to it. It's just a fun card. At 5 mana, it's fair. I don't think it's going to make anyone too salty. I would avoid maybe picking on the same person turn after turn, because of course that can certainly get annoying, but maybe they're the arch enemy and they deserve it, right? So we're going to cheat a little bit on the next one. It's not exactly removal, but it can be player removal later in the game, and some people say that player removal is the best type of removal. Prisoner's Dilemma. 5 mana, 3 and 2 red sorcery. Each opponent secretly chooses Silence or Snitch, then the choices are revealed. If each opponent chose Silence, Prisoner's Dilemma deals 4 damage to each of them. If each opponent chose Snitch, Prisoner's Dilemma deals 8 damage to each of them. Otherwise, Prisoner's Dilemma deals 12 damage to each opponent who chose Silence. Flashback, 5 and 2 red. Flashback means you can cast it from your graveyard for that flashback cost, so 7 mana, and then you'll exile it afterwards. Worst case scenario is each opponent takes 4 damage. However, as soon as one person decides to snitch, they won't take any damage, and the people who chose Silence will end up taking 12 damage each. So whether one opponent chose Silence or 2 opponents, they're going to end up taking 12 damage. So basically, it rewards the snitch. And that's why flashback on this is so funny, because if somebody snitched on the other 2, for example, they're going to be really upset about that, and they're going to assume they're going to snitch again, and then they're all going to try to vote snitch and then end up taking 8 damage each, which is pretty good. I don't know if it's worth 7 mana, but hey, later in the game, that's 20% of your starting life total. And this card is just really funny to play. Council's Judgment. 3 mana, 1 and 2 white, sorcery. Will of the Council. Starting with you, each player votes for a non-land permanent you don't control. Exile each permanent with the most votes or tied for the most votes. So the best part about this card is it doesn't target and it exiles, so you can get around Shroud, Hexproof, and all that stuff. So that's really cool. The only downside to it is that if you're the arch enemy, for example, your opponents can all 3 just vote for someone's random food token, and then you won't be able to tie the votes, and then you're going to end up just exiling a token, and your vote didn't count. Now, of course, there's cards that add extra votes and stuff like that, but if you're not playing those other cards, you're just playing this by itself, there is, the possibility that it doesn't work out for you. However, the same could be said for many cards, right? They're good at certain times and certain points of the game. But if you're not the arch enemy, this is a surefire way that you can, definitely remove the best permanent on the arch enemy's board with little to no chance of them being able to interact with it. Druid of Purification. 4 mana, 3 and a green, creature, human, druid, 2/3. When this creature enters, starting with you, each player may choose an artifact or enchantment you don't control. Destroy each permanent chosen this way. The floor of this card is a 4 mana 2/3 that's going to destroy an artifact or enchantment of your choice, and then your opponents can all choose the same artifact or an enchantment, so like a food token for example, so that you don't get to destroy anything else. And that's like the worst case scenario for this card. The best case scenario is you get your 2/3 creature, you get rid of that artifact or enchantment you wanted off the battlefield, and your opponents each pick something of each other's because they're upset that the person before them chose to destroy one of their artifacts or enchantments, so you end up destroying a total of 4 artifacts and enchantments. And unless you're in a winning position when you cast this spell, or would be put into a winning position when resolving this spell, most people are going to take the opportunity to remove an artifact or an enchantment that's causing them problems or is really powerful or something, so most people will play along with it. Our next card is very similar to Druid of Purification. Sadistic Shell Game. 5 mana, 4 and a black, sorcery. Starting with the next opponent in turn order, each player chooses a creature you don't control, destroy the chosen creatures. Unlike our previous card, we actually get to make our choice last, so we can see what all of our opponents choose first, and this is great because it's likely that one of our opponents will get rid of the biggest threat on the board, and then they'll each return the favor to the person who chose to remove something of theirs, and then we can be more selfish with our pick. And if they didn't remove the thing we wanted removed, then that's all good because we'll just destroy the thing we wanted to destroy anyways. And I understand that it's sorcery speed, 5 mana creature removal, and a lot of people just rather play a board wipe because it's more efficient. But there's more to the game than efficiency, because this card is way more fun than any board wipe. So that's 4 removal spells that get the table involved and get people to participate, add a lot more excitement than just randomly removing creatures with the most efficient removal available or board wiping each time. And then of course Prisoner's Dilemma can be player removal depending on where life totals are at, and it can be a lot of fun watching people, plot against each other. And you don't need to focus your whole deck on politics. If you do, that's cool. But if you just want to throw them in any deck you think they fit in, I think you'll find that they actually contribute a lot to your gameplay. You'll have a lot of fun and a lot of memories, stories to tell. Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoy cards that get the table involved by giving your opponents choices. Be sure to come back next week for interesting cards for your commander decks part 5. Thanks for watching. Until next time.